Hi, so I'm doing grade 9, paper 2. This one is the one that you have to use a calculator, and it's 2 hours long, and it's 85 marks. It's structured, so also make sure that you understand and read through the instructions, especially this part here that says if an answer is not exact, it should be rounded to one decimal place, and when you deal with money calculations, two decimal places. Very important that you understand that rounding, especially if you're not told in the question. Right, so very first question, this is a non-calculator or a calculator paper rather. So don't try to be too fancy. You have a scientific calculator, don't lose these marks. You're supposed to multiply 15 times 3, which is 45, and then you say 21 minus 45. So the answer here is negative 24. Don't waste time. 1 mark, under a minute. The square root of 196, well, you should know that it's 14, but in case you don't know, square root of 196, that gives you 14. Okay, 14. Don't get confused between square root and the square. 3 raised to the power of 6, right? So 3 raised to the power of 6, that will be 9 times 9 times 9, so 729. Again, use your calculator. You say 3 raised to the power of 6 in order for you to get that 729. 729 it is, because here we are looking for the value. Okay, should not lose those marks. From the list of numbers below, write down two multiples of 8, and if you know your 8 times table, you can see that of course 40 is a multiple of 8. The next one will be 48, okay, because 8 times 5 is 40, 8 times 6 is 48. Those are the only two multiples. 1 mark for that. A factor of 126. Now, here's the thing that I perhaps have to say. If I say to you, let's say 126, and I write it as a product of its prime factors, I have 2 times 3 squared times 7. 2 times 3 squared times 7. Right, I'm trying to see here. I can see a 9 times 2, which is 18. I can see a 9 times 7, which is 63. I can see a 7 times 2, which is 14 times 3. Alright, so you can play around 14 times 3. Of course, 42, right? Unless you can play around and divide all those numbers and see which one works. So my combo that I was using here, I was using 2 times 3 times 7, okay, which is 21 times 2, which is what I found by just playing around with those there. Okay, you could also have said, okay, what is 2 times 3 squared, but you can, that would not be, it will be 18, and so on. But until I can find a combo, otherwise just take the numbers and start dividing. Well, a square number, not to waste too much time. The square number here is 49, and 49 is a square of 7. 7 times 7. They say write the following numbers as percentages. So first, this one is very straightforward. Just multiply by 100. So that's 35%. Multiply here by 100. That's going to be 90%. Okay. And then write 35 over 50 as a fraction in simplest form. 35 over 50. Well, that's easy. 7 over 10. And again, do not lose these marks. Okay. It's 1 mark. And you should know very fast how to find the answers. Minus 8 and 0, this is below 0, so that's very small. This is 0.25 as a decimal, so that one is bigger than. This value 22 over 7 goes on and on. Okay, it's slightly, let's see what it is. It gives you 3.142. You see that? 3.142857. That whole line from there means that whole 142857 will repeat 142857, 142857. So it's a recurring decimal. So it's 3.1428. So if I say 3.142857, of course you can see that that one is smaller. Here's the thing, this is 9 and that's 3. In fact, let me just come back to correct this. This is also the same. It's 3 because the square root and the square, they cancel. So these two are equal. Right, question 3. The weight of a baby elephant is 90 kilograms. Then the weight increases. So they want you to find what the weight increase with. Okay, so very straightforward. 190 to 108, that's 18 kilograms. Okay, so it increased by 18 kilograms. So of course, if you have a problem, just remember that you must always check your solutions, okay? Although this one is straightforward. So the percentage weight is that actual increase over what it was before, and you simply then multiply by 100. Okay, so again, you can use your calculator to find the answer. 9 goes in 18, 2 times that, so it increased by 20%. Convert. Now here you need to know one important fact, and the fact that you need to know is that 10,000 square meters is equal to 1 hectare. So in order for you to change this one here, you then have to divide by 10,000. And very important that you don't forget that you are not given the formula, so that's 5.8. 6 square meters to centimeter. Now remember, a square meter means 1 square meter means a meter times a meter. And if you were to write it in centimeter, 1 meter is 100 centimeters times 100 centimeters. So this gives you then 10,000 square centimeters. Therefore, 6 times 10,000 square centimeters will give you 60,000 square centimeters. That's how you convert that answer right there. Question 5. A farmer has 45 horses, 20 cows. Write down the ratio of horses to cows, and then you give your answer as a fraction in the simplest form. Use your calculator. If you are not sure, you just say 45 upon 20. That gives you 9 over 4. We should then write as 9 to 4 as the ratio. The total grazing area of the farm is 2,800 square meters. The farmer divided this grazing area of horses to cows in the ratio 4:3. Then obviously you can see that the cows get the smaller version of it. So what is the area that the cows are grazing? So this is going to be 7 parts. That is 4 plus 3, which is obviously 7 parts. The cows only have the 7 parts, 3 out of 7 of the 2,800 square meters. And you can go ahead and you can multiply and see. All right, so 7 goes here 4 times that. So it's 1,200. Of course, you can use your calculator just to verify your answer. When you say 3 upon 7, multiply that with 2,800. Of course, you see that it's 1,200. That is the grazing area for the cows. Again, remember, if it seems like I'm moving too fast, you can always pause and work out and see if you arrive at the same answers. This question always must read it carefully. This is a question on simple interest. Grace invested, that is the principal, 6,500. The rate is 5.5%. The time is 2 years. Calculate the interest you receive. So the interest, you simply say the 6,500 times the 5.5%. That's why the 100 is always there. Multiply directly with the 2, the years. So that would be 6,500 times 5.5 upon 100 times that by 2. That rate here is 715. This is her interest that she has received. The amount, you take that 6,500 and you add the 715, okay, plus 6,500. Now it means the person has 7,215. That's the total amount that the person has altogether. Right, question 7. Here is a question on the interest rate, on exchange rates. 1 Namibian dollar, I like to use the ratio method. Then you have the Botswana pula. 1 Namibian dollar is equivalent to 0.73 pulas. So you need to change 116.8 rulers to Namibian dollars, so you can do cross multiplication. Bottom line is, if you do that, you know that you have the same currency, therefore you will be dividing. So at the end of the day, if you were to say that's 116.8 divided by 0.73, okay, so what that does, it's 116.8 divided by 0.73, because 160, so that's 160 Namibian dollars. Okay, so what I referred to when I was saying cross multiply, you say 1 times that number, okay, and you take this one, then obviously multiply together. So basically that will give you something like this. 0.73 equals, or 0.73x rather, if you were to multiply it, equals 116.8, and then from there you then simply divide to get that x alone by that. You can see that as much as what you have done there. So same currency you divide, different currencies you multiply. Question 8. Pete recorded his mathematics test results out of 20 marks for the year. So every and each one of these tests, they were out of 20, and you can see that it's 7 tests, 2, 4, 6, 7 tests that you wrote. The mode is the one that appears the most. You can see that it's 16. The range, you take the highest value and you subtract with the lowest value, and we had 19 was the highest, and the lowest he had is 14. Can we see that? So the range therefore is just 5. Question 9. Use Pythagoras theorem to determine or to calculate the length of PQ. So when you're looking for a short side, you subtract. So 17 squared minus 8 squared, whatever that answer is, you're going to take the square root in order to find the value of PQ. So go ahead and use your calculator. You can put everything under the square root. You say 17 squared minus 8 squared, and that gives you 15. So 15 centimeters. You're looking for a short side. Short side, you subtract, not just subtracting the numbers, but the square of those numbers. Right, when you get to question 10, it says write down, I'm first interested in finding W. So this is 65 over here. And what you should know is that this is a quadrilateral, is a quad, it's a quad, 4 sides. And all the interior angles of quadrilateral, they add up to 360 degrees. So W would be 360 degrees minus 2 times 65 plus 40. Okay, there's one way of finding it. There's a reason why I'm doing that one first, doesn't matter. So if 360, open bracket, then you say 65 plus 40, and whatever the difference is, that is the value of W, is it? 65 plus 65, that's 130. Okay, so 190 is quite big, so it's 190 degrees. Okay, so the next thing that I perhaps wanted to emphasize, they want you to draw the line of symmetry, and if you draw the line of symmetry, you simply have to see that it's just one line, and that is the line of symmetry. To cut the shape into two. Okay, shape is not 100% fine, but we can always move it, and then we to see what it was, what it's supposed to be. Let's just delete it. Let me just get it again. There you go. So that's the line of symmetry. Okay, right. So the diagram is not to scale, so that might not look to you, the naked eye, it might not look to you as 190 degrees, but remember it is 190 degrees. It's an obtuse angle. When you get to part B, they are asking you to calculate, number 1, the value of x. So these are all angles around a point. So everything over here should add up to 360. But here's the thing, where x is, and you have a 60 over there. So it's very easy for you to see that that one should be 30, because this whole angle from here up to here should also be 90 degrees. So if one is 60, then that one is 30 degrees. Very straightforward for you to get that. So angle X is 30 degrees. Angle Y should be 40 degrees, and the reason that is, you can see that from the diagram on the other side, you have that angle Y plus angle 140 should give you 180. So Y plus 140 should be 180. So Y therefore is 40 degrees if you were to subtract 140 from 180. Question 11. We are supposed to construct accurately triangle ABC with AB equal to 8 centimeter, and that has been drawn already for you. And BC is 5 and AC is 6. So what you're going to do is you're going to use a compass, and you're going to open a compass at B, radius of 5 centimeter. You're going to draw that arc there, and then you're going to have at A 6 an arc there, and where they meet, essentially that will be your triangle. So I'm doing it on the little software I have over here. Let's just go there. So my line is slightly different. The question is also over here, and you can see that from my compass here, it's 8 centimeters. So I just want the things to work. So that is 8 centimeters. So that line there is 8 centimeters. So I'm going to get to BC or AC, where AC is, I'm going to draw one of 6. So I'm just going to have a 6 up to there. So that is 6 there. And of course, you can obviously now draw the arc. Let's go back. Oops, it's a little bit tricky. 6. Alright, so I'm going to then draw an arc of 6 centimeters, like so. Then I'm going to do the same, but for this one from BC, I'm going to have an arc of, say, it must be 5 centimeters. So I'm just going to have 5 centimeters somewhere over here. Alright, so what we're now going to do is we're going to draw it like so. So could you see that? So now we take your ruler, and you're now going to join. Let me just make sure that you're not just going to join A as well as that, slightly there. So we're now going to join. Oh my goodness. All right. So let me just go back a bit. I'm going to take my ruler, and we're going to draw the line. And we're going to take the same ruler, so we're going to join where it intersects. Also, we're going to join it with B slightly above, and can you see that? So eventually, that's how it's supposed to be. Let's see if I have a tool. I just bring in my text, so that is going to be my C over there. So I just want to see. So this C is going to be over here. So eventually, that is how that particular question is supposed to be done. So I'm just going to do a few. I'm going to snip this a bit, and I'm going to have a rectangular snip perhaps, and just so you can see exactly what is it that we're looking for. So I'm going to save this as question 11. I'm going to say save. Of course, coming back to my diagram here, I'll probably go and insert, go to my edit, I'm going to insert an image, and the image I'm going to insert, remember I said is question 11, so let's just find question 11, and it's here, so that's the one I'm going to insert. Right, so let's say okay. So this is the way the diagram, your triangle should have been. Okay, so I'm just putting it up here so you can have an idea as to how that particular question was supposed to be done. Okay, maybe we go ahead and we insert a page. Let me just insert a page, a blank page, and I'm gonna go back and I'll bring my image. So I'm gonna take this one and I'm gonna cut it, and I'll just insert it over here. All right, so this is question. So this is the question solved. So what you do is you are using your obviously you're using your compass, and then you're gonna set your compass over here, and that should be 5 centimeters. This was 8 centimeters, and then you use the compass, you put your compass over here, and there should be 6 centimeters, and where they intersect, that is point C, and then you draw your triangle like so. Okay, hopefully you do understand how to do that one. Question 12. So you have got transformations. You are supposed to describe fully the transformation that map A onto B. Well, if you look at A onto B, it's clearly a reflection on the x-axis. So we'll just simply write here, it's a reflection. It's on the x-axis. If I don't want to say the x-axis, I'll say the line is y equals to 0, because the line of the equation of the x-axis is y equals to 0, simply because every point on that line y will equal to 0. But you can go ahead and write x-axis, you should be fine. Triangle A onto C, the single transformation that moves A onto C, so you can see small to big, so that's an enlargement. So that's 3 marks. So for writing enlargement, that is 1 mark. So we need a scale factor. So you can take any part and you divide horizontal distances or vertical distances. So I will be taking, for example, this distance of 2 divided by 1. So then you know the scale factor is equal to 2. Alright. So the next thing is we need the center of enlargement. Enlargement. Oh my goodness, let us just write, I'll just write center of enlargement like that. So this is normally a coordinate point. So the way you find that center of enlargement is perhaps you draw lines with corresponding points. So basically this point here corresponds with that point. So I'm just going to continue, and I'm going to continue just to see wherever it takes me. And all these other ones, they correspond. Can you see where they meet? They meet at the point 1, 1. So the point where they meet, that is the center of enlargement. So what you have over here is the center of enlargement. So the point is nothing but 1, 1. So go ahead then and write it as 1, 1. So that's how you get 3 marks for that particular question, and 2 for that. They say draw the image of triangle B after a rotation of 90 degrees anti-clockwise about the point -1, 1. So this is the point here. They want us to draw 90 degrees counterclockwise. That means in the opposite, anti-clockwise. So anti-clockwise, this direction over here is clockwise. So anti-clockwise, it means we're going to draw it over there. So basically, if you were to draw this, and if I have to bring in, maybe it's going to be taking shape here. It's going to take shape something like this. That's if you were to exchange it. Let me see. And then the diagram, obviously you label it D. So it's changing. The sharp end comes over here, that end comes over there. So that is how this one is done. Okay, right. Now we get to question 13. They say calculate sum of the interior angles of this polygon. So this is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. So if you were to do the following, if you were to draw a triangle from one vertex to another, to the opposite vertex, you always see that this is 6 sides. There are always 2 less triangles than the number of sides. In this particular case, can you see that the triangles are 4 and there are 6 sides? So you know that the interior angle of any triangle add up to 180 degrees. So in order for me to say, okay, I've got 4 of them, so the interior angles of this 6-sided shape, which is a hexagon, should be 720 degrees. Okay, so the formula comes from 180 times the number of sides, which is 6 minus 2. And so that is where you have 180 and then it's 6 minus 2 because there are 6 sides. And that's how you get to 180 times 4. So that's how you know that the interior angles of any, whether it's a regular or irregular polygon, it still will give you the same interior angles in terms of their sum. Alright, so having said that, and I'm going to remove this, okay, because that was for effect. Now we can calculate this missing one by simply adding all the others and then subtracting it from 720 degrees. So let us then see what all those angles. So angle S will be 720 degrees. Take away. So I'm just going to add them on the calculator. You can join if you want. That's 105 plus, let's go clockwise, 99 plus 130 plus 145 plus 107. That should give you, did I now? Let's just quickly go back and see 105, 99, 130, 145, and 107. That gives me 586. So 586. Of course, now I say 720 minus that answer, 134. So that is 134 degrees. Okay, so you get something definitely for your working or your methods as well, and show them as far as that is concerned. Question 14a, write down the inequality that is represented. The x is in the middle, inequality is always faced to the right. The big number comes on the right, the small number comes on the left. This is shaded. This is shaded, therefore you have the or equal to. This end here is unshaded, so you will leave it like that. And this is the answer that we have. Okay, very, very straightforward to write that down. Just make sure down negative is proper. It's not so proper here. People moaning, so let's just have it again. I think now it's better. Right, part B, simplify. Of course, here you have like terms. Maybe I write them first, and then I have minus 9b, minus 3b. So that is 9e. Now you have a negative and a negative. Just add them and keep the negative sign. That's 12b. Solving this equation, there are 2 ways you can do this. You can say, okay, 56 divided by 7. And you should know that answer is 8. So plus 3 is 11. Okay, so this is x minus 3 is equal to 8. Then x equals to 8 plus 3, which is 11 as a final answer. Or you can use another method where you multiply the 7 of the x and the 7 of the 3, and then you move around the terms. You should still have the same answer. The only reason why I'm dividing by 7 is because there's one term, and I can see that 7 goes into 56, so no need for me to carry that 7 over by multiplying it out. But whatever you do, you'll arrive at the same answer. Expanding binomials, again, you can go ahead and do 3 times 3m times that is 12m squared, and then you take the 3m and you multiply it with the second term. 3 times 7, that's negative 21m. Now you do the same, of course, with the 2 times that is going to give you 8m positive, and then positive and a negative gives you a negative 14. So now you're just going to have to add those like terms there, and those like terms are in the middle, which is the 21 and the 8, the negative 21 and 8. So you can just, if you don't make a mistake, so minus 21 plus 8 in order for you to see is negative 13. So you have 12m squared minus 13m minus 14, and that is how you find that answer. The way you do E is you factorize in groups, so you take them in pairs. You take these two, they obviously have an A in common, so x plus 3y. You expect that same x plus 3y in the other one. So there is 3m common there, that's x plus 3y if you were to go over. So the way you now write it is you take out the common factor of x plus 3y, and everything that is outside the bracket, a plus 3m, comes in its own bracket. Good. Right. When you do question 15, you do not use the formula to because we are not using this formula here. I'm just writing it down just to remind you that it's a formula you use in higher grades. So here, a trial and error. So first we find a common difference by saying 8 minus 5. Okay, you take the second minus the first, or the third minus the second. Okay, and when you do that, you're gonna get, okay, wait a minute, 8 minus 5, it's 3. So there's a common difference every time you add 3. So you go ahead and you write 3n. That's the first thing you do. Now let's take the first term. We know that the first term is 5, but if I say 3 times 1, I get a 3, but I'm supposed to get a 5. So what am I adding here? I should be adding a 2. So let me see if this rule works if I was to use anything else. Okay, so let's say we are using the second term and we add 2, that is 6. 6 plus 2 gives me 8. Alright, it seems to work. Let us test the third one if it works. Well, 3 times 3 is 9. 9 plus 2 is 11. So the rule therefore is 3n plus 2, and that is the rule. And it seems that we have actually now found our rule, or the nth term. When you come to part B, it's still the same topic but a different sequence altogether. It says that you are supposed to find the third term, so you are going to add everywhere where you have the n, you just put a 3 over there. So that's 18 take away 3. So the third term here would nothing be 15. So sometimes if they ask you write down the first 3 terms, then you put a 1 here, get an answer, a 2 here, get an answer, and a 3 here, and then you write the sequence down. Now if you were to find the value of t here, and this is something that you are supposed to notice, that the distance here, perhaps not the way that I've done it like that, but you can see that whatever that value is over there, okay, let's say the whole thing is supposed to be 10. So if the whole thing is supposed to be 10, from there all the way up to here, if it's supposed to be 10 like this one here, right, then this one should be 4. So therefore t is equal to 4. Can you see it? So if t is equal to 4, we can actually now also find the perimeter of the shape by simply adding all those distances, because we've got everything. So for 2 marks it says calculate the perimeter. Just grab a calculator so you don't make a mistake. So let's go ahead and say, okay, wait a minute, I'm starting with 5, I'm going clockwise. 5 plus 10 plus 12 plus 6 plus 7 plus 4. And that gives me 44. Okay, so therefore the perimeter of the shape is 44 centimeters. Do not measure, the shapes are not drawn to scale. Part B, it says the diameter of the circle here is 14. The radius is going to be, the radius will be half of 14, which is 7 centimeters. Okay, the area of the circle, you are going to use the value of pi. The formula is pi times r squared, so pi times 7 squared. Now here they didn't say you're supposed to use 22/7, so I would not suggest that you use that. Okay, let's just go back to the instructions and see, are they giving us anything in the instructions what they ask? So it says here we should give our answers to 1 decimal places if the answer is not exact, and since pi is a is a irrational number, so we'll use that. Okay, do not use things that you are not told to use. So I would rather say use your calculator value of pi. So in this particular case, you will say 7 times 7 is 49. So this answer here will be 49 pi. So let's get it on our calculator and see what that gives us. So it is pi times 7 squared, 49 pi, and it's 153.93. So I'm just going to write it here, 153.93. Let's have more values there, 93804. So to 1 decimal place, this is 153.9. Okay, that is how you give that answer. The total surface area, now remember, surface area is like these faces, right? And since this is a cube, there will be 6 of them, and each one of them is a square. So the total surface area is 6 times all of those squares. So it will be 6 times 8 times 8. Okay, that is the total surface area of this cube, 6 faces. So it will be 8 times 8, which is 64, multiply 6 of that, it's 384 square centimeters. That will be if you now were to do all of them, right? If you were now, there will be 2 of the blue ones, all of them are the same, so it doesn't really matter. This is just 3, the other ones are at the back and the reverse and so on. So all of them, all 6 squares. The volume of a cylinder, the formula to calculate the volume of a cylinder equals to pi r squared, which is the cross section, it's a circle, times the height. So the height is, or the radius is 4, and the height is 10. So again, let's go ahead and punch that on our calculator, and we see what we get. So, oopsie daisy. So bringing in my calculator, I have pi times 4 squared times 10, so it's 160 pi. So I'm just going to write it for now as 160 pi, and then remember we should give our answers correct to 1 decimal places. So I can just go and press SD on the calculator, and it will give me 502.65. So it's 502.65. Let's bring in more values, 482, 482, and so on and so on. So the correct answer would be 502.7 cubic centimeters. Anything round about that rounding will be accepted. Alright, so we have got a question 18, the table of values here. So if you were to put 2 times 0, if you were to put 0 over here, right, you get 3 as an answer. If you were to go back and you remove that 0 and you replace that 0 by 2, that is 4 plus 3, that'll give you 7. Are we together? Now on the grid, we're going to plot all these points, because they plot all the points, and we're going to draw the line. So the 1 point is negative 2, 1, so negative 2, negative 1. So negative 2, negative 1, so let's just bring in the red. Negative 2, negative 1, that will be, that's 5 little blocks. It's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So maybe I should make it a little bit bigger. So it's much easier for us to see. So it's -2, comma -1. That's where one part will be. Then next point is going to be -1, comma +1. So -1, comma +1 will be over here. Always the x direction first. The next one is 0,3. So 0,3 is on the y-axis. So it's here. Plot all of them. That's the third point. Then 1,5. So you have got 1,5 all the way up here. Can you see that these points are collinear? They will be on the same straight line. And then another one is 2,7. So 2 all the way up to 7. Okay, so now I've plotted all the points. So you get a mark for plotting everything. And now you obviously take your ruler and you join them. Okay, don't just stop there. You can obviously go out some more. So just make this a bit smaller. So, okay, make it one more step smaller. Alright, so yeah, just make it nice so I can be able to see. So, alright, so if I draw, can you see that all those points, those red points, they are passing through that line. Of course, there is a slight problem with my line on this side. Just bring my line in more. I'll just remove it and I'll just draw it over. $100% good. So that is my line. Draw the graph. We drew it. We plot all the points. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 points plotted, and you get a straight line. Okay. So if I was to write the equation down, so that is the equation y equals to 2x plus 3. That is the equation of straight line. Done and dusted. They asked the y-intercept. So the y-intercept is obviously where does the line cut the y-axis? It cuts it at 3. Alright. So you can just write 3. You don't have to be fancy. Right? Just write 3. That's the y-intercept. Okay. Or c equals to 3. Okay. But just 3 should be more than enough. Some people also like to write it as a coordinate. You know, it's not necessary. It's just the point is just 3. Question 19. So let me just go back and make this a bit smaller. The pie chart shows the types of television programs liked by 288 learners in a certain school. They want us to calculate the one for the angle for comedy. Now this is 90 degrees, if you can see that little square there. So comedy will, to find that sector angle, you'll say the whole thing 360 minus the 90 plus 45 plus 115. Remember, don't write under this margin here for examiners use. Alright, I just do that because I ran out of space, or I started already. So it will be 360 minus 90 minus 45 minus 115. Is it 115? 115. Good. So that gives you 110. So this is 110 degrees. So that is the answer then to this particular one over here. Alright, so I'll be saying 360 minus 90 plus 45 plus, what was the other one? 110, 110, 115, 115. And that's how I get to my answer. Okay. Now, the number of learners who like drama. So their total number of learners are 288. Drama is 45 out of 360. So just say 45 out of 360 times by the total number of learners, which is 288. That gives you the answer, okay? That gives you the answer. So it will be nothing but 45 over 360. Simply multiply that fraction by 288. That tells you 36 learners, they like drama. 36 learners, they prefer drama. Good. Seems like I've reached the end of the paper again. I hope that you have learned something. Also remember, try to pause the video and try the questions on your own. I will be uploading these question papers with their solutions on my Google Classroom so that you can be able to download them as well and then follow how to do these questions. All right, good luck with your studies.